Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at The Black Project, a graphic novel by Gareth Brookes, published in, Brookers, published in 2013. I believe he's English just because I guess this book won a graphic novel award, and all of the judges seem to be English cartoonists, so I'm guessing he's British. Once again, I have to thank Archibald Gernsback for generously donating this to the Academy's library, and he just continually sends me things that I've never heard of and that I'm kind of blown away by. I've never heard of this artist or this graphic novel, and it really hit me hard. It's probably one of the most, I don't know if chilling's the word, that might be overstating it, but it's just one of the most disturbing tales of obsession I've ever read in any form. It's really relentless, and we'll get into it in a second. It's a pretty fat graphic novel, and very interesting. Basically, his art is a mix of embroidery. This is embroidery, and I guess they just not photoshopped it. They just photographed it, and then linotype, that where you scratch into the revealing the white. I think that's what linotype is. If I'm wrong, whatever. It's linotype. I did want to say I do a lot of these videos when I'm a little tipsy. Well, that's such a mild euphemism. I usually do these when I'm fucking blotto. I want to say not a drop of alcohol or any liquor or beer has passed my lips today, but I just came back from Applebee's all-you-can-eat bottomless riblets, and it might be worse than me being drunk. I am drunk on pork right now, and I feel like I could barely move, but luckily I can do this sitting down, and I'll do my best. Has these nice little flaps here. That's kind of fancy. And this is autographed actually to Sophia. So I guess Sophia, didn't like it in the end and sold it or something. He says, "I hope you enjoyed this strange book," almost apologetically. And when you read, after you've seen this book, you're gonna realize that like if you wrote this book and drew it, and some woman, was buying it from you, you'd probably be a little like, thanks. I hope you don't hate it too much, because it's really kind of perverse, this book. Here's the title page. Dedication page. See, it's all, a lot of this is embroidered. This has got to be a first. I don't think any graphic novel or any comic book has ever been embroidered. I believe this is linotype, though. She was the first one I had any real feelings for. That's how we start, once again, with this image of embroidery. And at first, you think he's talking about how he has a crush on a girl for the first time. He's talking about in a very clinical way, like, she was my first big project. And the way he's talking about it, you already realize this guy's a little disturbed. And he's like planning how he's going to make all the right moves and think about it methodically, how to win this person's love. And then as we turn the pages, we realize he's not talking about a real girl at all. He's talking about making a girl. Taking a t-shirt and filling it up with, putting a pillow inside of it, taking some leggings and stuffing it full of rags, I think, or something like that. She steals one of his mom's bras and puts grapefruit in it for the boobies. I cut a hole for a mouth so I could stick my tongue inside like they kiss in films. So obviously this kid's very young and naive, or, unschooled in the ways of anything. He's never kissed a girl even. They don't tell you how old he is. He could be disturbingly old. Maybe he's just a freak. But I think he's a kid. He's like 13 or something. So he methodically tells us every little step of his project. And we see even a diagram here. So the thing that's really tricky for him is how to make a vagina for Laura. That's her name. He's named her Laura. And he has no idea what a vagina looks like and or felt like. So he found a toilet paper roll and he put it in between, the area in between Laura's legs where it would be. The head is I can't remember, I think it's a balloon or something. Or it's a globe. It's like the planet Venus or something he made for a school project. And he just taped a woman's face from a magazine on it. This guy is just he's very disturbed. And it's really kind of frightening when he tells us about how he talks to her and he wants to know her hobbies, and he makes up all these things. It's like, oh, Laura likes swimming and animals. Her favorite animal was the leopard. She wanted to travel the world and be with me. And one night he tries to have sex with her, but he didn't even know what to do. So he just laid on top of her with his penis inside the cardboard tube, just still as a statue. God, look at this. Just freakish. One day his best friend David came over and saw like a little bit of the Laura peeking out from under the bed, and he grabbed it. And of course, the narrator was just like, get off that, no. Oh, I'm sorry, his best friend's name is Daniel. And I like this portrait. And it turns into a big fight. And the narrator ends up biting him, and that ends their friendship. So he dismantled Laura. He was so mortified. Back to the needlepoint here. So I guess his grandfather dies. I guess the grandmother and grandfather just lived down the block. Lived pretty close. So the grandfather had a little shed, a little workshop. And the grandmother says, here's the key. You can take anything out you want. I'm going to just throw it all away probably anyway. So he finds all this stuff, rubber tubing, false teeth, a glass eye, all this like crafty stuff. So now, of course, he's like, I'm going to make another girlfriend now. And this one's going to be even better. I've got better tools now. I guess this one's going to be lots of plaster of Paris. So this one's named Charlotte. Oh, this kid is so disturbed. So this one, he got a football made of sponge, a soccer ball to us Americans, and he cut 3 holes in it. He put the glass eye in one, a marble in the other, because he only had one glass eye, and then the false teeth where the mouth would be. The grandfather, for some reason, had a wig in his workshop, so it's already, more realistic. And then he used his mom's makeup to pretty her up. But I say that sarcastically because it looks like a fucking horror show. If you guys have already noticed, I haven't commented, but this guy's art is kind of on the primitive side. I think it's so perfect for the story. It's almost like his thoughts if they were translated to art. Because it's kind of ugly. It's kind of creepy and disturbing, the art. I think if this was drawn totally realistically, it wouldn't be nearly as effective. It's almost like Alien Kaminsky Crumb stuff, where it's pretty crude, but I wouldn't have it any other way. It's perfect for the story. So he's working on Charlotte's body. He's like, oh, this is going to be a challenge. And I guess, I'm sorry, it's not plaster of Paris. He's going to use polystyrene. So I guess somehow he knows this old guy who works at the supermarket, at the Safeway. And so I don't know if they have Safeways in England, so maybe I'm wrong about him being English. He's this weird old guy who works there. He always gives him cardboard boxes or whatever he needs. So he also gives him all this polystyrene, massive sheets of it. I don't know what, maybe it comes with deliveries or something. I don't know. So this time it's pretty ornate. I was starting to realize this kid is kind of crafty, kind of clever. And, he makes these, using the sheets of polystyrene, he layers them so he can make buttocks and calves and thighs. Once again, he puts them in a bunch of leggings. And he says while he's working on his body, he got to know Charlotte a little better. Because every night he takes her head out from under the bed and chats with her. Oh, man. This poor kid. I see no good coming of this kid. I mean, this is almost like that, the Butterfly Collector, or The Collector. What's that book by John Fowles, I think? Where it's just like you're in the first person narration of someone who doesn't realize how fucked up they are. They're really just deep in their own psychosis. So the work on Charlotte progresses. So he finds condoms in the park and washes them out and filled them with wallpaper paste to make the boobs so they'd be squishy. He knew that boobs were squishy because when he gets his hair cut at the salon, the lady always rubs, when she's trying to cut his front, her boobs kind of rub up against him. That's such a potent memory, maybe for all kids. I remember when I was like 12, I never kissed a girl or anything. And I remember the ladies at the haircutting place, every now and then they'd have to like kind of rub their boobs against your back or shoulders. And I remember that was so thrilling as a little kid. So I think we were all kind of little pervs. I love this. So Charlotte's a step up, it looks like. But I love the way her legs are just askew and she's got no arms yet. It's just, So this time he's gonna do some studying. This time he's gonna look up in a book what a vagina looks like. And we see the clinical drawing of a vagina with the fallopian tubes. And I love he says, very deadpanly, I found the diagrams very confusing. So he does his best to make it at a plasticine. Luckily, though, that weekend, a cousin of his came to visit. Norman, he's a little older, and he brought a girly magazine called Razzle. Here's the cover. That's a pretty nice linotype copy. So, I'm sorry. So I guess he makes Charlotte's vagina out of a red sock, which he sprinkled some glitter on to make it more special. God. Oh, God, that's funny. So I guess the next day the father finds Charlotte, and luckily he's got an excuse. And so maybe this is England because they call it a guy. Apparently there's this thing where there's a holiday. I think it's Guy Fawkes Day. I'm just assuming here because they say guy. And the kids have a competition who can make the best like dummy or like mannequin or whatever, effigy, to be burnt. So the father says, and I think deep down the father knows something's weird about his son having this. So he says, I'll drive you down to the school to deliver it with you. He walks it through school and everyone sees him. All of his fellow students see him carrying this, basically a fuck doll. So the principal, he's kind of just charmed by it. He just thinks, wow, this is the best guy doll I've ever seen. This is amazing. And the caretaker, the groundskeeper, he happens to be in the office. I guess they were playing dominoes or something. And he says, no, we can't burn that. It's made out of polystyrene. It's unhealthy. And so our narrator thinks, ooh, I'm saved. She's saved. Because he's, of course, just filled with dread. He's like, they're going to kill my girlfriend. They're going to burn her. But then the principal poo-poos him and says, Oh, it's guy, whatever. Who cares? I'll take all responsibility for any health issues. So pretty irresponsible guy for a principal. And so at assembly the next day, they announced that he won the competition. And so they go to the big fireworks display, whatever, where they burn his doll, Charlotte. And everyone was enjoying watching Charlotte burn while he was in the toilets just crying his eyes out. Here we see a picture of it. So I had to start all over again. I decided I had to find a new place to keep my girlfriends, and he says, because he keeps getting found out. So he realizes the grandmother never comes into the workshop, so he's going to hide this shit in his grandfather's workshop. Now he's upgrading it. He's getting more fancy. He found a tape recorder. He's got a little hand bellow, for a fireplace. And he also found this fake skull for like a Halloween thing, And the eyes would light up when you press a button. So he sticks the tape recorder in the head. He records himself talking in a girly voice. I would love to hear that tape of him just being like, "Hey, I love you." He put a balloon inside. Oh, this one's named Melissa, by the way. He puts a balloon inside her jaw attached to the bellows, so it'll sound like she's breathing. He can make her breathe, basically. And also, he figures out a contraption. I'm sorry, the balloon actually does this. It makes the jaw go up and down. So when the tape recorder is playing, the bellows makes the jaw go up and down as if Melissa's talking. So then he puts modeling clay on her face. Put a pink balloon over the skull. I really love how he really ornate, tells you every ornate detail of how he makes this stuff. It's kind of fascinating. Maybe it's fascinating to me because I have no skill at making anything, or I'm not crafty at all with my hands. This kid's kind of clever. So this one's even worse than the first one. This is horrible thing. This time he has no wig or hair, so he just puts a hat on him. On her, sorry, Melissa. Oh my God. Disgusting. But then he finds a dressmaker's doll, a half mannequin, in the woods. So now he's going to make her body. So he's very excited. And once again, this time he makes even more crazy legs. This is, he made cardboard circles and threaded metal wire through it to make not the skeleton, almost the framework of the leg. And then embroidered the rest of it. God. And the whole time he's talking to Melissa's head and having very nice conversations. I guess every night he tells her a story, and he's almost running out of stories. He tells her all this personal stuff about her past. I guess he had a brother who died. So he tells her about how Daniel, isn't his friend anymore, and now he's hanging out with the cool kids, Dave and Fat Roger. So it's almost like now he's the frenemy. When she asks about his friends, he also says, "Yeah, I don't really have any friends. Everyone thinks I'm a big dork because I get good grades." I remember that. I remember lying about my grades and saying, "Oh, I just got a B minus," even though I got an A plus, because I knew that it was dorky to get good grades. Of course, Melissa says nice, reassuring things to him. All the boys are jealous of you. Because, of course, he's talking to himself. So now we progress. We see him making the body more and more. So he's still very curious about how sex works. Because all the porn magazines just show women laying there. And just show people fucking. So he goes to the library. I love this little comic sequence here where he's all like, I would like a book about sexual reproduction. And she keeps saying, wouldn't you rather read a book about fish? He said, no, thank you. I'd like a book about sexual reproduction. Wouldn't you rather read a book about birds or flowers? So finally he gets his book. And he learns about the birds and the bees. So he goes back to the workshop. And he sees Melissa. And she's all unraveled. She's undone. She's come undone. And he realizes this little mouse who's totally eaten all the string or kind of untangled it and gnawed through it. So all the legs have come apart. So he realizes he's going to have to buy a new string and some mouse traps. And then the next day, though, the mother says, I have something to tell you. Your grandmother's died. I like this sequence of panels here. That's more the linotype. So she said, yeah, Grandma's house is going to be auctioned off. And an assessor's going to come. So he realizes, oh, shit, they're definitely going to check out the workshop. So he runs over. And he basically pulls Melissa to bits. Kind of, destroys the evidence. Except some choice bits he took out to the woods, like the bellows. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He put it under his bed. The rest of Melissa he hid in the woods. So now he's got to start all over. So Grandma left all this embroidery stuff. Tons of it. And his mom actually says, oh, I'll teach you embroidery. And so their lessons begin. And it seems, once again, this kid seems like he's quite adept. Seems like he picks it up very easily. Learning all the cross stitch and the long stitch, all the various stitches, just while they're watching TV that night. Seems like he really picks it up quickly. So now he realizes he's got to make a good hiding place. So he makes this clever thing at the bottom of his bed where he used to like pile up all of his old toys. He basically throws the toys away and then just cuts out the front cardboard from them. He glues it all to this kind of a L-shaped, heavy cardboard, slips it under his bed. So even though it's an empty space, it looks like the sides of boxes of toys are under there. It's a screen, basically. And now he gets to work again. This one is a lot of embroidery going on. I love how he says, oh yeah, she pretty much only had brown string. So I guess Jessica's going to be a black girl. He has to make her black because that's the only kind of string or yarn he has, whatever. He gives her all these crazy braids, which he embroiders. He makes embroidered boobies full of cotton wool. I just love this line. I had been doing a lot of thinking about vaginas. I knew what one looked like, but I didn't know what one felt like. So I guess he used a fish tank pump. He put it in the vagina, I guess for some suction effect. And so now he's ready to have sex with Jessica. God, look at that. That is horrifying. I can't imagine. I'd rather just use my hand. 1,000%. No matter how horny I was, I'd be like, get that thing away from me. So he tries to have sex. He's so like untutored, you know. He says, then I felt like I suddenly needed the toilet, but I couldn't get my penis out in time. So it sounds like he has his first orgasm. I guess that feeling of, you know, that surge, uncontrollable surge, that it feels like having a pee to him. So he puts her under the bed, and he says, I couldn't make love to her again until I learned how to do it properly. And he went back to the library, but he couldn't find any good books about fucking. So when he gets back, his mom's vacuuming his bedroom. So he's panicking. He's like, oh my God, what if she discovers? But she doesn't discover the screen. She thinks there's toys, you know. So now he's making all these plans. Put her in the attic, bury her underground. And then once just build a space rocket and send her to Venus. It's a really weird kid. So basically he took her to the woods. He put her in some giant garbage bag and kind of hid her in the woods. And he has this crazy dream about him and Jessica sailing on the ocean. And he had a defender from pirates. So that night he wanted to go back and get Jessica, but the mom said, you're not going anywhere. So when he returns the next day, as soon as he wakes up, he gets on his bike and rides out there. And some bad, mean kids found Jessica. Her body parts are strewn all over. There's cigarette burns on her. They basically destroyed her. And he's just crying his eyes out. I like how the mom says, why are you crying? And he says, I miss Grandma. little lion shit. So the mother says, you really need to have friends. The principal's worried about you. He says that if you don't make some friends, we're going to have to send you to see the educational psychiatrist. And he throws a shepherd's pie at Mom, he says. That was a very discordant note. I was like, what? It's just a strange reaction. But then again, this kid's a fucking weirdo. So the next day, basically the mom comes with him to Daniel's house. It's almost like a forced play date. I like this. They're eating SpaghettiOs on toast. And, the ones with the alphabet noodles. God damn it. My vocabulary is shot to hell. Whatever you call those. Alphabet spaghetti. That's what he calls them. And Daniel's just spelling out insults to him. He's like, you're gay. Like, Daniel totally hates his guts, but he knows he has to do this because his mom wants this to happen too. And then, this is when things get really bad. He walks by the sister's room, whose door's ajar, and she's got this head. I guess it's like a doll head that you can practice coiffing her hair. And it's definitely a step up from anything he could make. And he says, I couldn't believe my eyes. She almost looks enshrined here. As if she's some goddess in an Indian mandala or something. One of the Hindu gods. So he's obsessed. So he's like, how do I get this out of the house? I must have this. This is when you realize he is just, this kid, he's just so obsessive. He cannot not take that head. But somehow he figures it out. He says, let's play hide and go seek. He grabs the head, runs home, runs back, and basically says, oh, I've been hiding. You couldn't find me for the last half hour, so I win. Oh, man. And he's talking about romantically, but like, oh, I'll take the head everywhere. We'll have such good times together. Just her and me. So now, ostensibly, Daniel is his friend again, I guess. Or he's forced to be. It's just so crazy. Just using embroidery. It's just so weird. Actually, here's the hide and seek sequence. Here's a little map of his escape route in this little town, this sleepy town. And as soon as he gets back to the house, you can hear the little sister screaming, "Where's my head? Somebody stole my head." And of course, it becomes a big thing. Daniel kind of says, "I bet you took it." And he says, "No, I didn't." And then it becomes a big thing between the mothers. And, the mother accuses the narrator of stealing the head. And he lies to the mom and says he didn't. And the mother, who loves her son, just says, "That's good enough for me. He didn't take the head." And they went home. The mom went to pick him up. So of course now he's all alone with the head. He introduced himself to her. "My name, age, and hobbies." But for some reason, and the head wouldn't tell him her name. She wasn't talking, which I think is really interesting. My theory is that it was almost too close to what a real girl looks like. So it's almost like he couldn't even imagine, her reciprocating affection to him. It was okay when it was just like a weird fucking soccer ball, this weird, inhuman looking things he was making. But now that it almost looks like a beautiful girl, this is just my theory, but I don't know. I think it's really interesting that for some reason he thinks she's not talking back. And of course, that's very important to him. He's like, "I couldn't love a girl if I didn't know her hobbies, her favorite color." So Daniel's mom won't let it go. And I think the mother kind of suspects her son maybe took it. So she lets Daniel's mom inspect the room. And they don't find the head. So the narrator's mother says, "See, are you satisfied? He didn't take the head." But in the kitchen, they're arguing. So while they're arguing, the narrator takes the head and sneaks. They don't even notice him. He sneaks away, gets on his bike. He's got to, he's trying to figure out a way to dispose of this head. And then all of a sudden, Daniel and his cool friends show up on their bikes and they start chasing him. And of course, Daniel's just saying, we know what you did." And they've got better bikes because they're rich kids. So they're gaining on him. This is really well told. Like, you can hear the panic. Like, because this guy's such a freak and he's so ashamed of being found out. The tension here is just really palpable. It's just like, oh God, they're gonna catch you. So he goes on this bridge, which is actually, you're not supposed to. It says danger, undergoing repair. But he's so panicked, he just figures, I gotta escape somehow. And Daniel pushes him over, says, "Give me that head back." And as they were both having this little tussle, they fall over the bridge. The railing cracks and breaks. I like this page of mostly just white. We just see a sneaker falling through the air. Daniel screams like a girl, and the narrator says, "And I knew that whatever was happening must be very frightening for Daniel to scream like a girl." Like, he doesn't even know. He's such a weird kid that he doesn't even realize, oh yeah, I'm falling off a bridge, I could die. So now a little time has passed, and they're both in the hospital. They both have their favorite nurses. And it's weird. All of a sudden, Daniel seems to want to have a rapprochement with his old friend. He's like, "Hey, when we get out of here, you could hang out with me and Dave and Fat Roger if you want, but you'd have to, follow some things. You know, you have to grow up a little. No crying all the time. And, you know, you have to follow my instructions. Not embarrass me, basically. I thought that was really interesting, though. For some reason, all of this, Daniel now is just like, I guess he misses his old buddy or something. And so Daniel knows. He says that this other condition is you have to stop making weird models. In fact, I know this girl who'll let you touch her titties. So you won't need models anymore. These weird models. So they're kind of stuck in the hospital for a while. I guess they were injured pretty much. And then they throw a party for them because they're kind of local heroes, because I guess it brought attention to this rickety bridge. And, you know, they're the victims of it. The poor little girl is still like, you're having a party for him? He stole my head. I don't get it. So I guess the head fell in the river. And Daniel says, when we get out of here, we should go back and find the head. I think the water's pretty shallow there. We could probably find it. So it's almost like he's really like, he wants his friend to be back in his good graces. He's like, yeah, then we could return the head and you'll be okay. You know, you'll redeem yourself. The guy from Safeway, I guess he got fired because he wouldn't shave his beard. So then in protest, he shaved everything. He shaved his eyebrows, his beard, and they fired him. Here's the newspaper article. God, that's so primitive and crude. That looks great, though. And these like two kind of cool girls say, hey, you can smoke with us sometimes, smoke fags with us. So it's like all of a sudden they're like the popular kids. Well, Dave already was, or Daniel already was. All these cute girls come to visit him. And one of the girls who comes to visit, this girl Helen, he kind of has a crush on her. It's this one. He says, I laid back in bed and thought about Helen and what her hobbies were and what she wanted to be when she grew up. Oh my God. And what her favorite color was. And we see the embroidery almost becoming unraveled like his brain. But then again, that could be a hopeful sign that now he's gonna actually expend his affections on real girls. But I don't know. I don't see a good end to this story for him and women in general. He's really fucked up. Beyond just like how we're all weird when we're kids, when we're all horny and don't know about sex, but... And then we have this kind of like little epilogue where we see this little fox rooting through the garbage and he finds some of the old girlfriends, quote unquote girlfriends. And then we see someone near the river. I like these linotype drawings here. And he's poking around in the river, and we see retired antiques expert, this amazing discovery, and he finds this head. And then we see the fox with the little rubber glove. That was one of the things for the first girlfriend. And that's it. Oh, I forgot. This is really great. There's a little interview with him about like when did he start sewing? Is this autobiographical? He says the artist says he never made girlfriends when he was a kid. But he would draw sexy girls, like Dungeons and Dragons girls. And yeah, this is very interesting, very short interview. But the guy asked some really good questions. I like how he even says, are you familiar with sewn narratives like the Bayeux Tapestry, which some say is like the first comic, if you will, sequential narrative whatever. I didn't even make that connection. I thought that was a clever question. Yeah, nice little interview. I wish more graphic novels would do this, or books would just have an interview with the guy. There's a self-portrait of him, embroidered. Guys, I'm so sorry. His name's Gareth Brookes. I just couldn't read his sloppy embroidered signature on the cover. It's not Brooker. It's Gareth Brookes, and there's an E in between the K and the S for some reason. I've never seen it spelled like that. So there you go, guys. The Black Project by Gareth Brookes. And I hope you found as interesting as I did. I was just riveted from the first 2 pages. Once I realized where it was heading, I was like, holy shit. And I had to get to sleep for work the next day. I think I read it like 2 nights ago. And I just stayed up really late reading it. I couldn't. It was just really engrossing. Like I said, one of the best narratives I've ever read about obsession. And just, you're really in this kid's head. And it's not the greatest place to be, but it's fascinating. And so definitely recommend this. I know it doesn't look that pretty. I wouldn't say this is pretty art. It's kind of weird, goony art. But it really fits the story. It's perfect for the story. And that's it, I guess. So I guess hopefully I'll see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.